we're in Porcio, TopVelocity.net. We're going to do an interview here with Eric Mozeika. At one time, one of the most popular searches on TopVelocity.net. We don't know why. Maybe someone could comment on this video and tell us why. We're still interested. But so I interviewed Eric a long time ago. I think it was after your first camp. What was that?
First camp 3 years ago now?
Yeah. So 2011?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
Long time.
So he looks completely different. He's gained about what?
40 pounds.
40 pounds in that amount of time. So I wanted to interview Eric because he's one of the more experienced guys in the program. He helps out a lot around here. He's been around here pretty much every off-season training and really can provide some insight into the program. And also, he's really had a lot of success lately because he's gone, he was a guy who came here probably like 82 to 84, right? And then, initially had a jump to where he could touch 90 or even go into the 90s. But it wasn't a consistent 90s guy, and then that became like his next big hurdle. So we'll talk a little about that, how he went from, breaking into the 90s and then like consistently getting in the 90s and the challenges it is to stay and maintain yourself in the 90s, which he did this season. So that's what I want to interview him today, so we get a little bit more information on his success with the program. So let's start where, so I think in the first interview I did with you, you're just talking about, I don't even think you're just talking about anything. You're just saying, I'm asking you some questions on how much you increased. So let's just start from the beginning. Like, talk about how this program changed your approach to training in pitching.
I didn't really have too much knowledge about pitching when I grew up. My father never played. Went to a couple coaches when we were little, but all of them, now that I look back, I was just the old school mechanics, the 5 steps to pitching. No real weight training program involved, which is the huge key to pitching. You'll see if you're not the genetically gifted athlete, you're going to need to do something to put you at a level to be able to compete with these genetic freaks, as we call them. And then just learning the proper mechanics that have just been proven by so many scientific, industries, scientific places, studies, all of them, to increase velocity. Just learning these, we should call them revolutionary mechanics.
So you initially, that first, camp you went through, and then you kept the training. You were just really benefiting from the new information, right?
Yeah, majority of people who come here when they see their huge velocity increases initially isn't from the weight training, because that takes time. It's from the learning of the new mechanics and learning how to be just more explosive with what you have, because to throw a ball 90 miles an hour, it's an explosive movement. It's not a simple technique. You have to be explosive with these movements. And then as you progress, you kind of cap out how much you can do mechanically. And then from there, you just got to make yourself a better athlete, which is where the weight training and the speed training come in. Because any good athlete can just run fast, jump high, and they're strong.
Yeah, so it's like with Eric here, him and I constantly, he's at a level to where we kind of go back and forth, and I pick his brain, he picks my brain, because he's now one of the veterans, the experienced guys here. So we're kind of doing this interview where it's not talking about kind of what it's been like being transformed into the program, because he's been in this program so long. He's in a place where it's like duh to him now. It's like when he hears guys coming to the camp so wet behind the ears, he has no patience for him, because he understands the process now. And these guys are just getting started, expecting results so quickly, and he's been doing this for 3 years, killing himself to finally get to an elite level. And he realized that most of these guys coming in the camps, are just straight clueless on really what it takes to develop yourself in a 90-mile-an-hour range,
Right. Yeah, I think what you said, they're clueless. A huge part of it is mentality. And it's not just being mentally strong, you have to be mentally dedicated to it too. I mean, my first summer before I even found this program, I was playing a summer league, playing 3 days a week, pitching one game a week starting, and I would just go home and I'd train on my own because you don't have practices in summer league, and I would just go on the internet and I just probably researched over 100 hours, just research on the computer because I was mentally dedicated to throwing harder. You have to, it's not just coming here and showing up. You have to completely buy in.
So when you first went through the program, and I mean, what really got you excited, which kept you in it and got you to break through 90?
I mean, I just reading all. I mean, I went on the website, and my parents are very frugal, and they don't like to really go out on these financial adventures without having some good hard evidence to back it up. And so I just when I finally found the website, I just started reading every single article, and I would be like, "Hey, Dad, you gotta read this article, man! Like, look at this." And every single article is just something completely new that all my pitching coaches when I was younger said, "No, that's wrong," and now it's like, "This is how you do it." And then you just see the little I guess what do you call those, the end notes where you get the article from. It's ASMI, American Sports Institute.
References some science.
Yeah, just references about actual scientific evidence showing that these are the way it is. And then finally we bought it, and I just went to the camp. I really liked it, so I was like, I didn't even actually go to the camp first. I said, no way I'm paying for that camp. But I went home and I was like doing these drills, and I remember me and my dad were like, damn, dude, this is hard. We can't figure any of this out. So it's like, finally, all right, we gotta go to this camp. Came down here, and I was so new to it. Brent did a great job explaining all of it. He really showed me, not just showing how to do the drills, but showing what kind of dedication you put into it. So I went home and I continued doing it, and I think the first time when I said this is it was when I went back and my first inter squad, my sophomore year, and I was fighting for a starting spot, and I went up, first inning I pitched 2 kids who were potential draft picks, the leadoff hitter, 3-hitter, and our 4-hitter. It was my first 3 batters. Struck out the side, and I went in for a meeting the next day with my coach, and he goes, how hard did you throw last year? I was like, 83, 84, and it's pretty good. You sat 87, 88 the whole day. I was like, now it's 6 weeks of training. I was like, well, I guess this is it. This is how I do it.
Oh, that's cool. So then, that was that initial, excitement of, wow, this is working, and then you bought in. I mean, you were in at that point.
Mm-hmm.
You were fully committed. So, I mean, you probably do, even though you worked really hard to get it, but you really do need to have those kind of results to really buy in, because this is not easy.
Yeah.
So really, as far as what happened from that, you really kind of the next couple of years, you just sat kind of in that range. Huh?
Yeah, I mean, I had from that point on, I mean, I was kind of overweight when I first got here, so it was a big jump for me. It wasn't just I had to put on weight and get strength. I really had to remodel myself as an athlete. I had to lose a lot of fat, become more mobile, and then, so that took a while, and then from there it was, all right, now I'm ready to put on the pounds, put on the lean mass, the muscle, and really start getting after it physically.
Yeah, so, I mean, you got to a point where you just weren't jumping up anymore,
yeah.
And you got frustrated, and I think we all had that moment. I had that moment in my career where initially, I got the arm back after surgery and could throw, mid-80s, maybe going to the upper 80s, and that was great because I thought I'd never play again. But then to know that your college career's ending, and the sport's possibly ending, you have the dreams playing pro ball, then it was like, okay, well, what's it going to take to go to the next level? And then that's really where you make another leap to say, you know what I'm doing, it's on the right path, but I'm not serious about it. Like, I'm not balls to the wall. I'm not going at this full tilt. And I think you had that same kind of moment in your career where you're like, screw this, I'm doing it. And I remember kind of that's what motivated me to do the level 3 program, because I wanted to give you more tools to really help you really jump to the next level? I mean, and you did that pretty hard, and you kind of took off on your own and even customized it on your own. So kind of talk about that moment where you made that mental decision to like take this to that level. Talk about that moment, and then what technically did it take in your training to get to that consistent low 90s right now where you've been?
I mean, like I said, it's like the mentality and it's the dedication physically and all that. But at a certain point, these programs are great, but every athlete is different. You need to know what you need to work on. And I said, I got to the point where I plateaued just from doing these programs for so long. I plateaued in my strength, and then you can see that once you start plateauing in strength, the velocity starts plateauing. So I said, I got stuck at that like 1.2 power to weight, and I said, all right, my first goal is to break through that plateau. So I just customized my own program, and I said, whatever I'm doing in this program right now, I'm going to do that, and I'm going to add some stuff. So I just started cleaning full out. I mean, I remember, I would say it's probably the end of my fall season this year up until the preseason where I went at it 3 days a week, and I just cleaned every day. And I would say once a week I was maxing out, testing my max, pushing everything to the limit. My body was hurting. I was sore every day. My knees were cracking when I was waking up. Barely even walk sometimes, but it's just making those sacrifices and really just being true to your body and knowing what you need to do to better yourself. Because I mean, Brent could show you. You come down here, we could show you the road, but I mean, that road's only going to get you so far. At a certain point, you're going to have to make your own road to get to the final destination.
Yeah, I mean, of course, we had those who come into the program that just following level 1, maybe level 2, even level 3. Sometimes that's all they wanted. I think guys like Mitchell Seawald, Matt Souther, typically the guys who have some height on them. Us being like the average size here, these were some taller guys where it's easier for them. They just need a little bit of this.
Yeah.
Guys like us, the average size of Major League Baseball is like 6'1", 6'2", a pitcher. We're in that range, so it takes sometimes, after, getting, having that big jump into the 90s, but if you want to be consistently in there, it takes probably customizing a program at that point for you. And we do all the time. And that's only for guys that have been tested into it. I mean, there's no reason to customize something until you haven't been through, level 1 3 or 4 times.
Yeah, I mean, I've been doing, probably did 8 to 10 cycles of level 1 already, 8 weeks, 8 to 10 times. Did level 2 at least twice, and I did level 3 probably 4 times.
Yeah, so, he's been down that road. So then that's when the customization comes into it, because then it's like, when we do all these measurements and we look at, your performance data, how your body's moving, we look at your biomechanics, we look at your even anthropometrics, then it comes down to, okay, let's get really specific on your weaknesses, and then we start trying to customize it. He knew it at that point. At that point, he had known my program so well, he's so good at it, he could customize whatever he wants. I mean, to me, that's when you know this is going to work. When you get to a level with this program where you know it better than I know it, or as good as I know it, to where you can then just customize it the way you want it.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, the customization comes at a very advanced level in this program. I mean, I would say, me athletically, I'm average at best. I'm not, but these guys come down and they're like, man, this kid's so confident, so cocky, and they see that on my persona, but it's because I've been through this. I've been through the struggle. I've lived through it for 2-3 years now, and I know what it had to take mentally, physically, to where I have that confidence in myself to say, all right, I've been through the worst. I don't care how genetically gifted you are, you're not going to be more determined than me.
Yeah, so his confidence is strictly through the reps, the fact that he's put in so much time in this process that it's just the fact he's comfortable, he's used to it, he knows it, and that's his confidence. It's not built on anything he makes up. He is built on pure hard work. That I've done it so many times. It's like he gets it, man. So really, what do you think allowed you not only to consistently, like give us some of the measurements or some of the goals that could put you consistently into the 90s, and then what also helped you maintain those 90s that you did like this year.
I would say the first thing is your power. I've been doing this, I've tried everything, and I'm gonna say the number one thing you need to do is you need to work on your power clean. Your power clean has to be at a 1.3. And if you're a lightweight person under 200 pounds, I'd say you gotta be closer to 1.4, 1.5. I was at the 1.3 range at 200 pounds, and my good days when I was really fast, I was 90. But when the days when I wasn't fast enough, I was sitting in the high 80s again. So I said, so I did my power clean, and then from there I said, what do I want to do? So I was like, I want to put more weight on, so it doesn't have to be 150% max effort every single time. I can coast at 90, and when I really need to rev it up, it'll be 92, 93. And then everything else you need, and then I really think your bench press weight and your back squat weight just help you so much tremendously on just being consistent to where your body doesn't break down. I mean, when my back squat finally got up to high 300s, now it's in the 400s, my legs, even when they're tired, are still pumping out great force out of them. And then now my next goal is my speed training. I want to get to that elite level of speed. I could be probably running a 7.2 right now. If I could be in that elite level of sub 7 at this weight, I would say that's an elite level.
So, I mean, talking about the power, the strength being so critical to the maintenance of 90 plus, to being consistently 90 plus. Talk about how that correlates to mass, because a lot of guys, come in here thinking, we got to be light, we got to be lean, and they got to be careful about that, because you look at someone like you, who you were like 30 pounds lighter before you were consistently 90. So a lot of it, you could just say, man, just getting the lean mass that you've got has been so key to you maintaining it, and that's basically is just the result of all those numbers that you just put out on your squats and your power cleans. But talk to them how you got to be careful in how you think about weight, because weight is key.
I mean, the weight has to come from working out. You can't be like, oh, I want to gain 10 pounds. All right, looks like I'm eating McDonald's 4 times a week. It has to be from the strength. It has to be all muscle weight, majority muscle weight, and it can't really hinder any of your strength or power ratios. You have to either stay the same or gradually go up. Because if you guys have ever taken a basic level of science class, force equals mass times acceleration. So if you want to increase the force on the ball, you need to either increase your acceleration or increase your mass.
With the same acceleration.
So I got to the point where my acceleration was pretty high, to the point it would be extremely difficult to increase that more. So I said, what's going to be easier, increasing my acceleration or increasing my mass? So I said, all right, let's try increasing the mass.
Yeah. So I mean, it really is. It's science. I mean, it's like you get to a level where you get good at it. You're like, okay, I got a lot of mass. Like right now, I got a lot of mass. I got good mechanical movements.
Yeah. And this all comes after you've pretty much mastered and perfected the mechanical movement. That needs to be the first step. You need to master those before you can really start venturing off and trying new things. You need to get a point where it's second nature to you now.
Yeah, because at that point, you're moving correctly. You're just not moving athletically. So it's like, every increase you make in your training program, that immediately correlates to your ball speed. Because you'll get frustrated, and it's a good point, you'll get frustrated making those gains in the weight room and then not seeing it on the mountain. It's because you still haven't perfected the movements, so you're not converting it.
Yeah, it's like I tell some of the kids down there that worry so much about the weight room and not that much about the drills in here. And I tell them, I said, you want to get as efficient as you can with these mechanics. So if you're 95% efficient, everything you do in the weight room is going to increase to where if you're only 80, 70% efficient, you need to lift you need to get twice as strong, twice as fast as me just to keep up with me because you're so much less efficient than me.
Yeah, because you're losing so much power in your movement. And so that's the challenge. Because a lot of guys, it's hard enough just trying to be good mechanically or just being good performance-wise in the weight room, and then trying to do them together. I mean, that's really what makes this program really challenging.
Yeah.
All right, so I think it's been pretty cool. Let's kind of end it up. I think, the best thing about Eric is just the fact that he's probably been the most committed to the program as far as being through camp, his first camp and doing every single program, all the way to preseason, in season, and then being here pretty much every summer. I mean, you really were the first guy to come and do the 3X training. I mean, you were the one who even asked me if you could do it. So you've been a veteran and you've done the work, and that's why I think this is just great for other guys to see this. I mean, don't look at Eric as, oh, this is who I'm going to be in 6 weeks or 16 weeks. You look at Eric as, this is a guy who's completely mastered it to the elite level, and look how far he's come, and look what he's been able to overcome. A guy who, genetically is probably just was, like me, just an average guy, and through hard work, determination, and a good program, has brought it into an elite level. Now he's just trying to get an opportunity at the pro level. Being low 90s, it's been challenging. His goal is now try to get into the mid 90s and just kind of blow the door down. He's gotten some tryouts, just not what he wants. He really wants to be a guy, gets some respect, gets a nice tryout, and then can go in and really impress with something like mid 90s. So that's his goals now. So you can even see someone like him who's come so far. He's still got bigger goals. A lot of guys will look at him and be like, I just want to be where you are, and that's fine. But you'll eventually get there, and it'll still not be enough, right?
Yeah. I mean, you gotta pick that major goal, that one goal. Where my goal is always mid 90s, get a contract, play professional baseball. But that was my major goal. I had probably thousand little goals. When I first came here, first thing I said is, my first goal is I want to be able to clean my body weight. Now I'm cleaning 150 pounds more than that. 150 pounds more than what I started at. And now it's just my first goal. And you guys got to keep making goals and keep climbing the ladder. It's not just, you can never be satisfied, because you don't stay the same. You either get better or you get worse. You never stay the same.
All right, just to end it, so the last word. So it's like, I still get, with all these testimonials out there and all the science on the site, I still get a lot of guys saying, well, how do I know this works? I mean, how would you convince a guy out there that this works? I mean, for you being the guy who's got the most out of it, who's been the most committed to it, how would you convince those guys that this works?
You just gotta buy in. I mean, you just gotta really sit down and say, how bad do I want to play baseball? Whether it's how bad do you want to make your high school team? You want to play college baseball? You want to play professional baseball? You want to be Hall of Fame? How bad do you want it? I mean, I've seen every other pitching program out there. I've tried pretty much every other pitching program out there, and I'm still doing this one 4 years later because I've seen the science behind this one. Not every other program. I don't think any other program even has scientific evidence behind it. If you look at every other program, they just take a major leaguer that threw 94 and they make him throw 96. Like, what is that? Like, that's really nothing. He can take every major leaguer and make him throw 2 miles an hour hard. It's getting players that would have never had a chance to play at the league level and give them that. So you just gotta buy in and really do it. Don't get the program and just say, oh, I'm only gonna do the drills, or I'm only gonna do the lifting. You gotta do everything. You gotta do it 100%, and I guarantee you, I've said it the first summer I've been here, and I've still said it. I've never seen a kid come do the full 16 weeks, balls to the wall, and not gain at least 5 miles an hour. I don't think I've ever seen someone gain 5. I've seen them gain all closer to 10. I mean,
yeah. How many moments have we had where we've seen things that have been pretty cool? Where
we had a kid this summer who was just like he did it all, but he didn't push himself. And one day, me, Brent, and CJ and Kevin, the other guys that been here for a while, we just throwing baseballs and we just got after him, and we just started almost heckling him, just fueling him up, and he literally went up 9 miles an hour in 10 pitches.
That was Walter.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
He came down here first camp in July, threw 77, and then a month later hit 86.
yeah. So I mean, like I said, Eric's seen it all, and great success story, and expect a lot more great things out of him. Just want to take the opportunity for you guys to kind of learn from him, see why he's probably been one of the, why he was one of the most searched names on TopVelocity.net, and maybe he'll become that again after this video. But that was cool, man. I appreciate it.
Oh.